So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today's DreamWakers Daily Conversation. This is our final week in the series for our spring semester, and this week we're highlighting career role models that work in all facets of sports. So today we're speaking with Kamara, and she's a professional Olympic track athlete representing Sierra Leone, but she's also a marketing strategist and entrepreneur. So thank you so much for being with us today, Hafsa. We're excited to talk with you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I mean, every single time that we speak, I just get so excited. So I'm just glad to be able to just talk about me and also how I can help you guys during this time.
Awesome. Well, we're really excited. As you know, you've done flash chats with DreamWakers before, and you've talked to some of our students, but a lot of students out there dream of becoming a professional athlete. They want to make a career out of their sport. And you're not only an Olympian and an athlete, but you've got a career and you work outside of just the sport. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about your career as an athlete, your career as a professional, and kind of how you balance those two things.
Oh my gosh. So at my career, just starting off, especially in track and field, it is one of those sports where it's not just, it has its season, but the training and the commitment to it is a year-round thing. So from going to practices, being at home and eating right, to traveling and competitions, it takes a whole lot of dedication and commitment to even get into the sport, especially at a professional level, not to even speak of in high school or in college. So I've just been I've just been fortunate to have really dedicated and supportive teammates, family members, and a coach who's always encouraging me and always helping me in the sense of anytime my schedule gets hectic and just keeping me on track. And then on the aspect of my professional life, as far as being a marketing strategist, that honestly works hand in hand with being an athlete, because nowadays, not sure if you know, the NCAA now is allowing athletes, college athletes, to be promoted to accept brands, to basically get paid for being a brand. Goes hand in hand with what I'm doing as far as being a brand strategist, because I had to promote myself as an athlete. I had to show others brands what I was worth in order to gain sponsorships. So at first it was challenging because though I'm working from my computer, I can't stay up late doing work because I have 9 a.m. practice, or I'm coming back from practice and I'm tired, and last thing I want to do is be on a computer answering emails or being on Instagram or creating content. So it was basically finding a way to merge my schedules together and merge my commitments together. So prioritizing my time efficiently, prioritizing my tasks efficiently, making sure when I'm recovering for practice that it doesn't impede into the things that I'm doing as far as work. Speaking to my coworkers and to my clients, letting them know that, hey, I'm going to be gone in Europe for the next 2 weeks. You can send me emails, but that's just about it. So a lot of communication, a lot of prioritizing my schedule, and a lot of just having a really strong support system that's going to, catch me anytime I'm falling in either my sports or in my professional life.
Yeah, that's amazing to have that network of people helping you out, and then you doing all the scheduling yourself. That's great.
Yes, definitely.
So we're obviously in the midst of this global pandemic. It's new to all of us. We're all being impacted in a lot of crazy different ways. So how has your day-to-day been affected by all of this?
Oh, it's funny because it's when it first started out, it wasn't that highly effective because I was in an off week. I'm in LA, so we were kind of getting into it a little bit. We didn't have that many cases just as yet, but we were, I think it was that week of March 13th. That week, everything went 180. It went from, okay, things are going to be okay, we're still looking at stuff. By Wednesday, it was okay, everything's going to be on shutdown. Everyone's staying at home, no more jobs, going out to jobs, no more public outings and things like that. And then that week, as far as practice, we were off. So we were already scheduled to be off from training and beforehand. So we were thinking, okay, still thinking like an athlete, okay, that doesn't stop us from training. Then we're getting emails that our fitness facilities are shutting down. And we're okay, so Still doesn't stop us from training. And then Monday comes and we're looking at our coach and like, okay, so what's about to happen? That Monday, we went to like 3 different tracks, got kicked off of 3 different tracks. Ended up driving all up and down LA trying to find somewhere to train. We of course couldn't lift because our weight room was closed. And then ended up at one of the state parks somewhere and ended up doing some runs on like dirt path. And then receiving a text from our coach later that night, like, hey, based on how things are right now, and we're not sure I don't want to keep driving all around looking for places to train. Let's everyone just kind of train on their own or do stuff at home, but try to stay safe until we figure this out. So like that was when it like really started to hit. And that's when I really started to see some like, okay, this is really going to affect mainly my training, mainly my goals and pursuits for the season as an athlete, as a track athlete, especially since in the Olympic year. So like that was completely just taken off the board. But when it came to my marketing, it was basically crisis management because we had clients who had to close their businesses, who had to like put their employees on pause or even fire their employees, who didn't know where their income was coming from in the next day, next week, or whatever. So who had to cancel their services with me because they couldn't afford it. So it wasn't until the week after, like that major week, that I was like, okay, this is real. But now I've kind of gotten into a consistent schedule where I'm still working with some of the clients in the sense of like crisis management, just giving them information that the public is getting and reiterating it for their brand. And then as far as training wise, like I'm still doing things at home, getting some encouragement from my coach, and he's giving us workouts, but finding ways to, make a pattern in what has become our usual day-to-day now.
Oh my goodness, that's a great lead into this next question in kind of a frustrating and crazy way that 2020 has been so unexpected. Like nobody thought that this was coming. Like you said, it was just sort of one day it's fine and the next day we're all at home for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
For a lot of students especially, that's been really hard, and I'm sure you can relate to that in finding out that the 2020 Olympics is being postponed. So when it comes to these like huge disappointments and life setbacks, how do you cope? What do you have grit? Do you have resilience? Like what roles do those play in your life, especially now?
Yeah, it's so funny because I just like shared my thoughts on this recently on my social media, and during times like this, it's so easy, especially with like the way the media and news and just the general public is like highlighting the negatives and constantly sharing things that like, okay, this is what's going to happen. Oh no, this is what's going to happen, like misinformation, and everyone always, sharing the opinions that are in facts. Like I call it opinionated facts, where people are giving their thoughts, but making it seem as if this is actually what it is, but it's really not. So with all of that going around, I always try to encourage myself and others to focus what it is that you can control now. Not on what is wrong, but what it is that you have that is right. And what we have is like we have each other. Those doesn't mean as if we're right next to each other, but we have each other as far as a phone call, a text message, a chance to just unite with each other and check out each other is doing. Another thing that we have is our presence, like our actual being here. There are people out there who are actually in the hospital suffering from this, or they have loved ones who have passed away or are in the hospital right now suffering from this. So it's just, it seems like it's basic, but it's what is essential. It's the health, it's the mental state, it's the support. I tend to lean on this during times like this, and also like keep myself focused by finding simple tasks, whether it's reading every day, whether it's taking time to write. It could be one sentence every single day, taking time to call along like a relative that I haven't spoken to in a while, or catch up on something that I've been pushing off for a while. Just little things that are going to kind of keep you away from the negative space that's constantly surrounding us.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said about connection too, because I think a lot of people have been saying, I have time now to reach out to people I haven't talked to in forever, to have all these like Zoom meetings are just really connecting in ways that we didn't before.
Yes.
So it's been kind of cool in that way.
Definitely, especially the Zoom meetings. Like, I know, like, as far as between work, family, and friends, the first week I had at least 50 Zoom meetings, and I'm like, okay, you know what? This is too much. I'm not sure if you heard where the CEO of Zoom was talking about this was more than he expected. To the, like, he was just like, I don't even know how to handle this right now. Because it's crazy.
It is. It's really crazy, but very cool the way that people find ways to connect even in the midst of
yes.
It's kind of an amazing human trait. Well, on a more positive note, to many of our students, you're living the dream. Kind of like I mentioned, so many want to pursue their sport as a career, and you've been able to do it in a professional capacity, which is so cool. But I'm positive that it hasn't been an easy road. So is there anything that you would have done differently or wish you had known when you were younger as you were sort of entering into this field?
So something that I told myself, especially like when I was like, okay, I'm going to pursue track and field. Like, after college, I'm going to become a pro. Like, I believe there is only one way to do it. And that was what I saw everyone else do, which was get an agent, run in big meets, just look, feel, and talk like that top athlete that, emulate the best and the biggest ones out there. And then I realized, like, especially after Rio Olympics, I was like, wait, I'm not like them. Like, I didn't come from the same path. I wasn't running track and field my whole life. I started in high school, like my senior year in high school. Most of my college career, I was so focused on school, like it wasn't until the last 2 seasons I was like, oh, maybe I can do this a little longer. I'm not running for the U.S. I'm running for the Sierra Leone, which is a more underdeveloped sports program where, like, even trying to get a uniform is a difficult path. So having to realize, like, I'm not like the athlete that's standing next to me in the lane. Something I wish I knew beforehand, in order for me to realize, like, I create my own path. I decide who's going to be my coach. I decide what type of athlete I want to be. I decide what works for me and what doesn't. And I think a lot of times, like, as young athletes, we see the LeBron James, we see Kobe Bryant, we see Serena Williams, and we see them, we're like, okay, we're going to follow their exact path. Not knowing, even themselves, they didn't follow the paths of those that they idolized. They created their own, they found their own way. So that would be something that I would tell my younger self, like, find your own path.
I love that. Find your own path. Yeah, I mean, that applies to athletics, but also in anything you want to do. It doesn't
in everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Which is actually a great lead into the next question, and this idea of, we spend so much time talking about representation and this importance of having mentors and what that can look like in people's lives. So what has the role of mentorship been in your life, and why is it important, or do you find it important?
Oh, it's very important. It's so important, especially now, because I'm doing so many new things. I'm doing a lot of things where it's like I'm leading it or I'm taking control, like starting like a brand new program, which, like, I'm basically mentoring young students in digital marketing, and I'm teaching about digital marketing, how they can entrepreneurialize themselves. So, like, that's something new. Like, I'm basically starting a business, and I'm just like, well, I don't know how to do this. But I've been fortunate enough that I've worked with people, I've, interacted with people, I've watched people who have done that. And, that sense of having someone to guide you, someone who can tell you about their mistakes in order for you not to repeat them themselves, like, that is so key and so important. And then it's also someone to hold you accountable. When you set your goals, sometimes you only have that end result in mind and never really look at the steps. But someone else has gone through those steps, so they can keep you pushing towards the end result that you're trying to get to. So having a mentor, I have mentors who are close by who I talk to on a day-to-day basis, and I have mentors who are far away who I'm looking at and I'm saying, yeah, you know what? I like the way you spoke. I like the way you think you do. Not in the sense like I'm replicating them, but I'm using them as encouragement to say that, okay, I can do it too. I can do it in my own way as well. So having that sense of someone to guide you, near or far, is very important.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. And that person too can share with you, like, your path doesn't have to look the same, but I'm here for you either way. Sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love that. Well, we sort of touched on this one a little bit earlier, but I'm going to ask it in another way. We talk a lot about losses, and in this time, a lot of our seniors are losing their graduation. They're losing, these really big, important, pivotal moments. And I'm sure, being an athlete, like, you've lost. This is part of life. So how do you overcome challenges like that? I mean, losing a race, having a hard day at work, having disagreements with teammates or people you work with. What do you do when you feel like nothing is going right, and how do you sort of overcome these large adversities that can seem to kind of overwhelm you?
For me, I tend to really I like to write things down, and also I take a moment. I realize oftentimes when we're in those type of situations, we're honestly also surrounded by feedback from other people telling us, oh, this is what I should have done, or this is what you could have done, or you should do it this way or that way, or we're also surrounded by like watching other people do, like other people maybe having a prom, or other people being able to graduate, and all these different types of things. So during those moments where I'm just filled with a lot of like adversities, I'm filled with a lot of like things going on, I take a moment for myself, and I'll give myself between 24 to 48 hours of like no social media. Like, I'm not leaving the house. I get all my comfort snacks. not crazy, but like, I get the stuff that I enjoy, and like I do things that I enjoy with myself, and that gives me time to just hear my own voice. Because we all tend to like start hearing and listening to what other people are saying during those times. We need time to like actually put stuff in order, think things through, outline everything, see it clearly. And then like once I do that, I spend that time by myself. I then go and interact with those that I feel like show me the same type of love that I'm showing them, that make me happy, that make me smile. Like, I spend time with my family or my sister and things like that, and we just like, I put myself in a good space so that moving forward, like I'm better able to like, just take hold of the situation. Especially like as high schoolers, like losing your prom, or as a high school student athlete, that's usually one of the best years in your life. Like, you're going out as a senior, varsity letterman, like you have goals set out because it's going to be your last time on the track, on the field, on the court, and so you want to go out there and do your best, get your name on the record, and not being able to do that is challenging, it's hard, it's frustrating, but understand, like, there's more to come. There's so much more success for you to come. There's so much more for you to pursue. There's so much more and bigger goals for you to achieve. And this is just a moment for you to just take a moment, see yourself, and clear it, and just be clear on the intentions.
Yeah, absolutely. And the best is coming. It will all be better, which doesn't always feel real in the moment, but I understand. So again, switching gears to something happier. What has been something that's super memorable for your career? One of your favorite moments thus far?
Ooh, thus far. Okay, so it was actually in Rio. It had nothing to do with the track. It was more so like kind of being a fangirl. I was in the cafeteria in Rio, and so each country has their own country pins. So the countries who are more underdeveloped, their pins are actually more price-worthy, I guess you would say. Like, they're rare finds, and being that Sierra Leone is underdeveloped countries, like, our pins are, like, a lot of people go looking for them. So one of the goals is, like, for you to collect a pin from every single country that's in the village. Yeah. So we were there, I was in the village, and I was in cafeteria, and then all of a sudden Serena Williams comes up to me and was like, hey, what country are you from? I'm like, Sierra Leone? Like, oh, do you have a pin? And at the time, we hadn't gotten our pins yet. We just got into the village, and our officials hadn't given us our pins yet. And I'm like, not yet. Like, not yet. like, oh, okay, well, I need a pin. Like, don't give it away because you only have a limited amount of pins. Like, don't give it away. I would like, I want your pin. Like, you owe me your pin. And I'm like, yes, I did. I went and hassled my official for a pin until he finally gave it out. And I went looking around the village for a pin from Serena Williams. And like I ended up getting one, and then I switched. She gave me a Tennis USA pin, and I gave her a Sierra Leone pin. So yeah, that's been the epic moment of my life.
That's pretty amazing. I don't know that I would be able to form full sentences if she were standing in front of me.
Exactly. No, I was starstruck. Definitely starstruck.
Amazing. So cool. Well, sort of switching gears back to this idea of what we do in this time. So we work with some summer programs and student athletes, obviously. We're talking about sports this week and keeping active through the summer. And obviously that's a little trickier now that we're supposed to stay close to home, be more careful in the outdoor spaces. So how have you been staying active in quarantine? And do you have tips for us? Some suggestions for students to keep their activity up?
Yes, I have a couple tips, okay?
All right,
so my thing, I might have to break out a sweat for just a little bit.
Okay.
So one of the things that I usually do, my go-to things, is grabbing a broom. So I basically replicated some of the weight room machines that we use at home, and using my broom, it definitely does do that. So one of them I'm going to show you is the row machine. I'm sure you guys have seen like the ones where you're sitting back and rowing. You'll see it. I'm going to show you. Right. Give me 1 second. Oh goodness. And this has been it actually does a great ab workout for you. And at the same time, some leg work as well. I love it. It's my go-to.
Amazing.
All right. I'm going to have to prop my phone. So you grab your broom. Then can you see me? Is it?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay, great. So you can do this up against a wall or a couch like I have. My walls are white, so I don't want to here. So you're going to use a lot of your lower body strength here as far as sliding yourself back. And then, don't do this on a carpet. You're not going to go anywhere if you do it on a carpet. You're going to have the broom out in front of you. You're going to slide back and then up. Can you still see me?
You're a little bit cut off, but almost.
Let me
That's probably perfect, yeah.
Okay. So you're going to slide back and up. Slide forward. Back and up. And then you can add a little twist to it by turning to the side. You basically have your own rowing machine at home. All you need is a broom.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're gonna have all of these students stealing household supplies from their parents.
And it really does work. It's a great core workout.
Yes. And you clean the floor a little bit. It's like.
And yes, you're helping your parents out here.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Tell them that you found a new way to clean the floor.
I love that.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. And then, so another thing I like to do also is a couple of yoga movements. So I call these sun salutations. I'm going to take you through this one. It has various variations as far as sun salutations, but you can personalize it yourself and make it yours. Let me get this up a little higher. Honestly, tripods have been saving my life this whole.
Yes, this is great.
So starting off, you're like just doing a hanging hamstring stretch. You're just letting your weight just hang down to the ground. Holding it there and doing 5 deep breaths. And then from there, you're slowly going to come up to high table. So keeping your back straight, chin tucked in, back down to hang. 3 breaths. Coming up, arms stretched out, overhead. down in front, chest up, palms pushing into each other, standing up straight, and then up again, down into hanging hamstring again. So that's like part of the sun salutations that I do.
I feel like we should all be doing that, like on the hour, every hour, working from home. There have been days where I realized I'm like 4 hours in and I haven't moved. And I'm like, this is not good.
Yeah, because it's so easy to do that when you're in the office and everything like that. And, okay, I have lunch or I have a break or I'm having a chat with someone so I can get up from my table. But when you're at home and it's just you, it's like,
where does the time go?
Okay, exactly. So yeah, that's the perfect one to do in the morning, in between tasks at home, with your dog. They might be able to do it better than you. But yeah, those are my go-to exercises.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I will try them out later and report back.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, just a couple questions left to sort of wrap things up. First one being, for the students out there who are interested in careers like yours, what advice do you have for them?
Oh, so if you're interested, okay, let's start off as far as like track and field. If you're going into it and you're not, like, you're doing multiple events, like, don't feel as if like you have to just pick just one right now, especially if you're younger. See what events are out there for you. See which ones you're good at. See which ones you like, because you have to actually like, whether it's sports, whether it's work, anything in life, you have to like what you're doing. You have to enjoy what you're doing, or else it becomes pointless. So choose an event, choose a sport that you see yourself enjoying and actually pursuing, because sometimes you'll start into it and you're like, oh, maybe it's too much work, or maybe like it isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. But even during the good times, you see yourself good times and the bad times, you see yourself continue to commit to it. Actually look into that. Look for past athletes who've been in that sport. Talk to some teammates who are currently into that sport, and like get feedback from different types of people. And the same thing applies as far as doing digital marketing. Like, there's so many different facets when it comes to digital marketing. It's not just social media. It's not just blogging. There's so many different aspects to it, and do your research. Look online, even type in the question, what is digital marketing? You'll find so many different informations on YouTube as well, people giving information tutorials on that aspect. Another thing is, you can also reach out to me. I provide students with experience and knowledge on how to digital market themselves as a brand. And once you do that and you're starting at a young age, the workforce is changing. Most things are going to be online. Like, your background search now, it's not just your past work history, it also includes your social media and what your digital imprint looks like. So you are getting ahead of the game if you're going out there and finding out, okay, how can I monetize myself? How can I leave an impression on the digital platform in order for me to be ahead of those when I enter the workforce? So research.
Yes, such good advice, and thank you so much for that offer. Students, we're happy to connect you with Hafsa as well if that's something you want to pursue. So final question is that we're wrapping up this school year and with a week about sports. So this series is about sports. And it's fun because we're getting ready for summer and cool careers, and we're kind of trying to make that sound exciting. So this school year has been a major win for all of these students who have finished up a very challenging year and just kind of ended in a way they didn't expect. So what's your favorite way to celebrate the wins? And do you have advice for students as they're wrapping up their school year and heading into summer?
Oh, my favorite way? Okay, so I love sweets. So before I prepare for a competition, I always try to get myself, I tell myself, okay, I'm not going to have any sweets. Let's say my competition's on Saturday. From that Monday, I'm telling myself no sweets or anything all week, super strict diet, and then I'm going to have all the cake and candy that I want right after the track meet. But I only get it if I actually do well and execute as I should. So that's usually like my biggest way to celebrate. Like that ensures that I'm winning and also ensures that I actually get a chance to celebrate how I want, and that's like indulging in some sweets and cake and everything like that. And then my advice for you is to find your own way, find your own way. We are constantly being influenced by like what everyone else is doing. Like it's right in front of us. We see the relationship goals, we see the work goals, we see just the life goals. But what is your goal? What is it that you can set for yourself, that you're saying, okay, I've won this. Like me doing this means I'm constantly winning. Look for constant wins in your life, because that is how you're going to set yourself apart, and that is how you're going to make yourself happy. It's about your happiness.
That's a great piece of advice, and I feel like now these kids are going to go steal a broom and tell their parents that they deserve dessert because they finished a school year, so it's great.
Yeah. I think the parents are going to be okay with the broom, especially if they're cleaning afterwards. And dessert, if they're doing their job with the broom, yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope that everyone enjoyed this, and I know I really enjoyed talking to you, and just appreciate your time and taking the time to answer these questions.
Yes, thank you so much for having me once again. I enjoy being here and enjoy speaking with you guys all the time. So and to the students, congratulations to an amazing year. Okay, it's been a quirky year for sure, but it's still an amazing year.
Yes, absolutely. And so to everyone else, feel free to tune in here at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time every day, and we'll be posting our summer segue to summer series. I'm sorry. In case you miss any of these chats, you're welcome to watch them here on our Facebook page later or on YouTube, where we'll post the link in the chat here. So have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time.